Hello, everybody. My name is Roy Nemmer of Mundo Albiceleste.com. I'm joined by, as always, the one, the only, the living legend himself, Sebastian Garcia. Seba, how are you?
Hey, how are you? I started with a smile. I don't think you're going to see my smile a lot during this conversation because we have a lot of explaining to do to our audience. People probably not realizing exactly what was going on, what happened. We're here for that. We would have liked to be talking about another game for Argentina, obviously, preferably a win, but it wasn't to be. We were robbed of a show. We were robbed of the game by people in charge, people have that have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that's to put it short. But we're here to answer all your questions. To talk among ourselves, try to make some sense out of this nonsense, right?
Yeah, we were talking about this a couple of days ago. We said we're going to go live after the match and we're going to talk. And we had even said, Argentina's going to win and get the 3 points. And there was some controversy before the match. But then when the match kicked off, you thought, okay, we're kind of good. And then it was just stopped.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
stopped.
Maybe what we can do is to start by saying what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if chronologically, but we can start from the end. And the decision is that the game was interrupted. The official version is that the referee stopped the game. Which this is important because if it was um, for another reason, maybe Argentina was um, going to be punished for leaving the field of play early. But the official report says the referee stopped the game and it was down to force majeure, external causes. So, in principle, based on the official report, none of the team will be punished with point deductions or um, any disciplinary actions. Yeah, that's to begin with. There's a lot to say. There are a lot of different angles to take on this, but to begin with, we can say that officially the game was interrupted by the referee um, due to external causes. So it's, for sure, we know that the game is not going to be played today. Argentina are going to be boarding an earlier flight than expected. It's not a commercial flight, so they're just making the arrangements to leave a little earlier, come back to Buenos Aires and play against Bolivia on Thursday. But it's not going. This game is not going to happen as we are talking. The Brazilian national team, they're training on the pitch. They're using this opportunity to train. They also have a game against Peru in a few days in Brazil. So the game is not going to happen today as everybody expected it. But now we can talk about the reasons why. We can talk about what happened 3 days ago, what happened 15 days ago, what happened 10 minutes ago, and especially what happened 5 minutes into the game, where we all thought, okay, everything is set to play, like you mentioned, Roy, everything is ready, we're here, we're good. And then all of a sudden, there was a pitch invasion from one of the health authorities, and we have this farce happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned 2 weeks ago, and this kind of all started about 2 weeks ago when the Premier League was the first league to come out and say that they would not be releasing their players or certain players to certain countries, the red zones, the red countries. And pretty much all of South America make up that, those red zones, those red countries. That's why a lot of that's why the entirety of the Brazilian players based in England did not, play. The four Argentine players, Emiliano Martinez, Cristian Romero, Gio Lo Celso, and Emiliano Buendia, those are the four that are really impacted and kind of, I won't say caused all of this, no, but this is the reason why it revolves around those four. They obviously traveled to South America. A couple of them took part in the match versus Venezuela, the 3-1 win. And then everything kind of started about 2.5 hours prior to kickoff. And that's when it all started. And, there were reports saying that the four players would not be able to participate in the match, and not only not participate, but even deported, facing possible deportation because of the Brazilian Health Ministry or Brazilian Health Agency. And that was that caused a lot of ruckus. It caused a lot of problems. And then, people start talking, well, if that is the case, CONMEBOL and FIFA side with Argentina, and if the match is called off, then Argentina would get the 3 points. And this kind of became a battle between the federations, the teams, the federal government, and the health agency.
Mhm.
And obviously, kickoff, we saw the names: Emiliano Martinez, Christian Romero, and Gio Lo Celso in the starting 11 for Argentina. Emiliano Buendia left out of the squad. The match starts. And then about 2-3 minutes into the match, depending on the camera angle, you saw a lot of people on the side of the pitch. And then, like you mentioned, 5 minutes in, everything just kind of stopped.
Yeah. There's a lot of elements in play here because, let me start by saying what some people, some influencers, some journalists are saying on the Brazilian side of things, what uh, their counterparts in Argentina are saying, and then all the facts in the middle, right? Because what they're saying in Brazil, it's subjective, it's their own personal opinion, and obviously they're biased. What they're saying in Argentina, you can say the same. So one event, two different ways of seeing it, at least two. But in Brazil, they're saying, hey, the players and the AFA, they knew about the regulations of the country they were visiting. They didn't comply. They wanted to, um, rule by themselves, do whatever they wanted, and decided to play the game anyway, even though the local authorities were saying that it wasn't possible. And it's important what you're saying because it's just for the four players that were in the United Kingdom before arriving to Brazil, because there is a rule in Brazil that prohibits or has a mandatory quarantine period of 15 days for anybody coming from the United Kingdom, right? So those are some of the facts. Then in Argentina, obviously the version that everybody's saying, oh, Brazil did this on purpose. The authorities, together hand in hand with the organizers or whatever, decided to interrupt the game so Brazil doesn't lose the game. It sounds a bit childish, but at the same time, it makes no sense that this happened 5 minutes into the game because these players arrived in the early hours of Friday. So they've been in Brazil for 2.5, almost 3 days already. They had so many opportunities to prevent them from playing. They could have alerted the national team, the coaching staff, the AFA, and the players themselves that they were not going to be allowed to play in the game. They didn't do any of that. They let them get into the bus, the team bus, arrive into the stadium, get changed, start playing, right? So it's not clear why they waited until the very last minute, but this is an opinion that I have. This is my personal take. I don't want to get too much into politics, but nothing that is going on in Brazil right now in terms of government agencies, president, governors, all the government, uh, the people in charge, all those taking the decisions, none of them make any sense. So bureaucracy in Brazil is
Yeah.
really brutal. I live there, and it's for every little single thing that you want to do, it's a lot of paperwork involved, which is fine in so many cases, but I'm lost for words when I try to explain why they allow these players to walk into the pitch, get into the stadium, leave the hotel, because you can convince me that they only realized 5 minutes into the game, and so they had to step into the field, even hustle with some of our players. There were a couple of angry, awful images there with
Yeah.
Acuna and Otamendi trying to fight off this guy. So, but in between all the subjective takes that we can make, and there could be one version for every single one of us, there are the facts, right? We have to go with the facts. And among the facts, you have one which is, I think, it's the key, and I think it should be the most important going forward, because there is an agreement for sports um, games or events, that they have this concept of bubble,
Yeah.
whereas they allow certain situations to take place and to happen, which they don't allow for the rest of us. If I want to go to Brazil as a tourist, they're going to keep me in a hotel room. If I'm coming from the UK, whatever. This didn't happen. And for example, for Brazil, they went to Chile. This same team 4 days ago, 3 4 days ago, they were playing in Chile. They went back and they
Yeah.
were not asked to observe any quarantine, stay in a hotel. So because they are based on the principle of the bubble, the sanitary
Yes.
bubble, and they are exempt and they are allowed to. Because if we really want to go into the very little details, what is the difference between Dibu Martinez, Gio Lo Celso, and Lionel Messi, Rodrigo de Paul? They're sharing the same room, the same diner room, the same, probably they hang out in the same rooms.
Yeah.
If they have any virus, if any of them have any virus, um, all of them will count the same for the COVID
Yeah.
situation. So that those are the things that are in play at the moment. It's getting nasty with some people, going with offensive words. Some Brazilian influencers saying that Argentines are all breaking the rules. In Argentina, some saying that Brazil are all chickens, and that they have they were afraid to play the national team of Argentina. We lose in the end, all of us, fans,
Of
journalists,
course.
everybody. People that I know were tuning in 2 a.m. in the morning in Asia. Um, very in crazy kickoff time for a lot of people, and we don't get to see these teams play.
It's Yeah, it's. I mean, something you mentioned regarding sports athletes or players here in. I mean, I'm based in Canada, but I was actually talking to my brother about this during the match when when everything unfolded. He mentioned something to me, and it's true. It's exactly what you mentioned, Seba. There was the NHL, National Hockey League ice hockey. There was the Stanley Cup Finals, the playoffs, and it was between the Montreal Canadiens, a Canadian team, and the Tampa Bay Lightning, a team in the United States. And back then, and even now, like the traveling between both countries, there's certain protocols you have to follow. But for the sports athletes, for the players, for the Montreal Canadian players and the Tampa Bay Lightning players, they were able to, join and everything. So the Tampa players were allowed to come to Canada. Canadian players were allowed to go to the United States. And like you said, there was that bubble, there was that exemption.
Yeah.
And why? And this is something that Messi mentioned after the match when he was talking with the Brazilian health officials. He said, "We've been here for 3 days. Why is this happening now?" And it's not like no one knows where Emiliano Martinez or Lo Celso, Romero, Buendia play. Everyone knows they play in the United Kingdom and England. Everyone knows that. They landed on Friday. They could have done this yesterday. They could have done this morning. Why 2.5 hours before kickoff? And why do what they did during the match? That's something for me that, and this is my personal opinion, kind of inexcusable. There's no justification. There's nothing that could justify what they did the way they did it. If the
Mhm.
Brazilian players by any means, if the Argentine players by any means kind of broke the law, broke the rules. Obviously, we don't know if that is the case. Okay, perhaps they should be punished. I'm not against that, but don't tell me that you figured this out 2 hours before kickoff.
No, 5 minutes after kickoff.
Or
That's the
sorry,
problem.
5 minutes
Yeah,
after kickoff, even
yeah.
5 minutes after kickoff.
No, I'm reading some of the comments. There was one asking. There's so many, so I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I see them in the background. One of our viewers was asking whether he should go back to sleep or stay in case the game it's played. It's not going to be played. Go back to
yeah,
sleep. You can watch
yeah,
us in the morning if you
yeah.
really like us.
This is the
But
comment.
yeah, it's better to go to sleep, because there's no chance they're gonna be playing tonight. So
No,
yeah,
no.
if if we are if we are in any position of offer any service, yeah, there's some sleeping hours for you there, because it's not gonna be played. Um, but yeah, the one thing that the Anvisa, which is the name of the entity of the health
Hmm.
security in Brazil, the one thing that they are arguing is that the four players failed to communicate in the statement that they have to write and sign when they arrive in Brazil. They failed to communicate they were in the United Kingdom less than
Yeah.
15 days ago. Then it could be, fine line between whether they had to, or whether somebody else had
Right.
to fill those forms for them. But in any case, as you were saying, you knew these guys were there. These are pretty high profile guys. It's not my cousin going to the beach in Brazil for a couple of days. These are guys that that gonna be there, um, and you should be doing a better job at making sure, if they are suspicious of carrying any virus into your country,
Right.
you're not doing
And
such a good job if you're waiting from
no,
Friday until Sunday to stop them, right?
no, it's I don't even know what to make of it. Like honestly, when this whole thing was stopped, I'm like, what are they actually going to do this now? A country that, and
Well,
I don't like to get political, but
no.
the Copa America was held in Brazil less than 2 months ago, or let's say about 2 months ago. It was held in Brazil 3 months ago,
Mhm.
despite a lot of people kind of being against the idea.
Yeah, yeah,
And now it's the same players. It's the same players, like you said, that were in that bubble or that are in that bubble, and you decide to do this 5 minutes into the match.
hmm.
There's nothing that makes
No,
sense in any of it.
no, no, no. But also, you know, I said I don't want to get too political, but at the same time, I'm one person that thinks that everything is politics. Everything, it's there. You can't
Mhm.
separate sports from politics, especially in
Right.
the international stage. That said, I mean, I'm saying this because you have to remember the president of Brazil doesn't like the national team manager of Brazil. And this guy Tite has been getting a lot of good results. He's leading
Yeah.
the national the standings. But remember, just hours before the Copa America was going to be held in Brazil, the players were boycotting. They had to play anyway because of
Right.
a lot of pressures that they were facing. They said if it was up to us, we wouldn't be playing, but we have to honor our national team. Blah blah blah. It's not like they suddenly make a U-turn because they thought it uh, more deeply. No, it's
Right.
because
Yeah.
somebody told them to think otherwise, and the consequences for not showing up for the Copa America when the government, the government of Brazil was doing everything in their power to do it, to cover for other things that were happening in their country. Those things, come into play, and one of the people that were more angry with these authorities coming into the pitch was Tite himself. It's not like
Yeah.
Brazil didn't want to play. They all that team, all the players, Tite, everybody in
They wanted to play
Brazil,
the match.
they wanted to play, and they were really upset. They were really angry. They don't know if they're gonna get point deducted. They had a good opportunity to, play with a decimated team, with a big team, and probably get a result against Argentina. Be a bit even after the Copa America final, stay at the top of the World Cup qualifiers, have a one foot and a half in Qatar 2022, and all of a sudden they had to, you know, they had to cancel the game. And I'm telling you, Tite was more angry than Scaloni was, because and this is why I think the
It's
internal
political.
because of the infight and the internal situations, because a lot of people in Brazil, a lot of people in power in Brazil want to undermine Tite, want to get rid of Tite, and this is a good opportunity to cause
To do
a
that.
bit of a problem, and also to say, hey, I'm above you guys, I'm above the CBF, I'm above the AFA, I'm above FIFA, I'm above anybody, Conmebol, and whoever you want to bring into the picture. So I'm the government of Brazil. I'm going to stop this game. I don't care if the cameras of the whole world are watching, or if Mundo Albiceleste readers are waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning. I don't care. Um, and that is probably the behind the scenes and the scenes, and also the things that nobody will say, but
Yes.
that we can read between the lines.
Yeah, it's like you said, this is not something that's gonna make the media and make the media news about the conflicts, let's say, between Tite and the Brazilian government, so to speak. That's obviously not something that's going to make the headlines. But for now, I mean, and then going back maybe a little bit more to the match is because we're getting a lot of this. Sorry, we're getting this question asked a lot in the chat: is who's going to get the points? What's going to happen to the match? No
It's
one
too
really
early.
knows.
No, too early
Yeah.
to say. What the one thing that I'm uh, holding as a fact as of today, it's the official statement saying that the referee stopped the game. I will. I said it before. I repeat it. The referee stopped the game for external interference. This
Yes.
this means that no team can be punished. No Brazil or Argentina can be punished for leaving the field of play before the end of the game, right? So what's going to happen? Nobody knows. This is going to be going to court. Um, there's a, there's a chance it will be replayed. We don't even know that for sure either. Some people are saying, "Oh, it was the Argentine players not abiding to the rules; they should be punished." Some others are saying, um, it was a game in Brazil. Brazil didn't give it all the guarantees for it to happen. They interrupted it. It's a government agency in Brazil interrupting the game, which is a fact also.
Sure.
So yeah, there you go. Because of all the of all the possible solutions, there was one that was to ban the players from taking place in this game, but do it beforehand gives Scaloni the chance to come up with a different starting 11, and you play the
Yeah.
90 minutes without an issue. Argentina would have been in the losing side of things in that sense because our players feel pride for the team, for the national team and the shirt. They decided to stand against their own clubs and say, "I'm off to Argentina and Brazil and Venezuela, and I'm going to play
Yeah.
these games." Uh, their Brazilian counterparts, they didn't do it. They stayed in England. So one wonders what would have happened if the Brazilian Premier
If
League players were here. Would have
yeah.
done the same? Would they have done the same? I don't know. That's nobody can say for sure, but I doubt it. I
Yeah.
doubt this fiasco would have happened.
No, no, and we mentioned this in the previous video. Brazil have 9 players based in the Premier League.
Right.
And a lot of them starters. Ederson, the goalkeeper, Gabriel Jesus, Fabinho, possibly Fernandinho. Sometimes if it's not Casemiro, Thiago Silva. So there's a lot of them. And like you said,
Yeah.
if the Brazilian Premier League players were there, would this have happened? Maybe not. Maybe not. But obviously, considering some of the infighting going on between the Brazilian Federation and the Brazilian government, no one really knows. No one really knows. All we know is this is this makes worldwide news. Obviously, the fact that you have a match suspended already is something, but the fact that it got suspended and the reasons why it got suspended is something else. And now, if it does get postponed, because it's something you mentioned, most likely it probably will be replayed somewhere or continued elsewhere. But when there's no time. There's really no time. The leagues are not releasing the players. The World Cup is in 13, 14 months from now. When are you going to play this? Argentina played
Yeah.
Brazil again in November, this time in Argentina. So do you play that game twice? It's no one knows at the moment. It's
Yes.
incredible
Yeah.
what happened.
Sied is making a very good point. Talking about it, if you can bring a comment. Um, the schedule being so tight, he's right. I mean, one struggles to think when they can fit this international fixture um,
Yeah, here we go.
before the World Cup happens. I mean, but whether they will award Argentina the 3 points or vacate the result of that game, if this was a Copa America, it was. it was probably a different scenario. Um, but chances are these two teams at the end of the entire World Cup qualifiers probably can do without these 3 points. I mean, they can probably qualify even without the need of this game being played. So it's the same if you finish first or second or fourth in these
Right.
Copa in these qualifiers. So maybe they will speculate with that and leave it till the end, and then when it comes to the end, they say, "Hey, we don't need to play this," and that's it. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I hope it gets played because that's what it should happen.
But
Um, but
but
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, sorry, not to cut you off, Seba, but let's say we go down that way of, because in all likelihood Brazil and Argentina will qualify for the World Cup. Knock on
Hopefully,
wood,
yeah,
or Argentina will anyways. But let's say it gets to the last round, okay, and we're just
yeah,
hypothetically speaking, Argentina are in fourth place or fifth place, let's say.
right.
Then what happens? Let's say they're in fifth place and Argentina says, no, 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 we want to play this to avoid playoffs. Well, then what
Oh no,
happens?
of
What does the
course,
team
of
in
course.
fourth place say?
Of
So
course. No, I'm only
it's
referring
it's difficult, of
if the
course.
standings stay like this and Brazil and Argentina
Yes.
are 1 and 2, then it really wouldn't affect other teams' chances or the format itself or these two teams. I mean, as I said, it's irrelevant to be first or second in the standings.
Yeah.
So
It,
so yeah,
West writes here, they cannot afford to enforce more triple windows. It's true. I mean, we have qualifiers, I think, coming up at the start of next year. I can't remember if it's January or March, but in the very, very beginning of 2022. And who knows how, well, number one, no one knows how everything's going to be with COVID, but
mhm,
who knows how it's going to be with that, with the qualifiers, with the leagues. Are they going to release the players? Because there's a difference between not wanting to release the players at the start of the European season and not wanting to release them in March, where the Champions League is being played. They don't want injuries. They don't want anything else. So, and then it's true. It's a valid point where you can't
yeah,
keep enforcing these three
yeah.
matches.
I'm telling you, if I was involved in any um, level
Capacity.
with capacity or level with the teams in fifth place, I will be asking for both teams to get 10 points deducted. Argentina for not complying with the rules or whatever. Brazil for not allowing or offering the guarantees for the game to happen. This is obviously a joke, but
Yeah.
it's really a big mess. Now one of Jair Bolsonaro's sons also
Mhm.
involved in the government, saying blaming the Argentina players and blaming Argentina in general for knowing that they were not complying with the rules and like justifying what they're doing in terms of interrupting the game and blame it on the Argentine players. Obviously, I expected nothing less from him, but it's bad. It's as I told you. Now it starts the rhetoric and people saying, "I'm gonna read this. This is a tweet from
Yeah.
Flavio Bolsonaro, one of the one of the sons of the president. He's saying the Argentines came here as thieves. They knew they were making a mockery of the Brazilian law. They didn't allow Anvisa, the entity for health security, they didn't allow them to press charges on them. They were
Mhm.
arrogant. They also play the players that were not supposed to be playing from the Premier League. Now the federal police has to investigate who were the ones not complying with the law. I'm sorry, but I'm translating from Portuguese, not my first
It's
language,
okay. It's okay.
into
It's okay.
English, not my first language either.
It's
But
okay. Thank you, Seba.
yeah, but these are the guys who
Very
said
appreciated.
that it was just a flu. Back in the day, they were saying this is just a flu, and you cough a little bit, and that's it. Um, they have I don't know how many
Uh,
thousands
it's
of victims of COVID right now, but now he's talking about the national team and these players as criminals, which is bit rich. It's a bit rich, in my opinion.
That's yeah, that's a bit excessive. That's a bit excessive. And there was a question in the chat regarding the Argentine players as what happens. Will they be able to play versus Bolivia? I mean, the four Argentine Premier League players, do they get detained in Brazil? Do they have to spend 14 days there? Then they get kicked out. They get deported. What happens? No one. I mean, no one really knows. Obviously, it's not a good look for Brazil. It's still not a good look for Argentina. Obviously not. But no one knows at the moment. That's the only thing that we know for sure is that nothing is known for sure.
Yeah.
That's the only at all. Scaloni spoke about it as well. The coach, he said no one mentioned anything to us. Messi said it. We've been here for 3 days. No one said anything.
The CBF, the Brazilian Confederation of Football, they had no idea that the health authorities were going to be doing that. Obviously, in order for you to be able to walk into the pitch, somebody has to allow you to. So
Of course.
the police there didn't do anything. They just let them walk into the pitch. And obviously this is coming from higher up. And as you can say now, they have all this rhetoric and they're blaming it on the Argentina players. So yeah, this is gonna have a lot of chapters when it comes to appealing, courts, arbitration, sanctions, whatever you name it. Conmebol was very clear saying that this was a FIFA organized event. They were very
Let
quick.
FIFA handle this. We have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, they were very quick. There's a question from 8 francs. If you can bring it, genuine question. Why did Argentina take the English-based players if Brazil didn't? Well, this was Argentina were it was their prerogative to use the players coming from the Premier League. They have called them up in the first place, and it was a decision that the players took to go to come to South America to play this game. The Brazilian players, they decided not to disobey their clubs. They stayed there. They didn't want to come to South America, and the rest, look, they went to Venezuela. They played. There was no issue with that. And in this case, had they known for sure that they were not going to be able to complete the game, I'm pretty sure Argentina wouldn't have selected them for the game. But if you call them up, let's mention this: the Premier League, the Premier League games. The Premier League teams may as well say, "Hey, I don't want you guys to go there," but they will probably face consequences from FIFA because if it's an international date, you should be releasing the players. Yeah, there was a court that ruled in favor of the national teams, saying that La Liga teams should release the players as well. So it's not a matter of why Argentina used the Premier League players when Brazil didn't, because Brazil could have used them all the same if the players had decided to travel or discuss it with their teams, but it didn't happen. They were entitled to come here. In some cases, they could, try to find some middle ground. And for the Aston Villa players, they decided that after today's game, they were going to fly back to the UK, so they didn't miss that many days with Aston Villa, and they were not going to be playing against Bolivia. But for Brazil, they decided to stay in England altogether. So I don't think it's any negligence in terms of why use these players when Brazil cannot, because you're entitled to use them.
Yeah, and it's actually this fits in perfectly. I'm just going to share something here. Let me bring it up in just a second. Regarding Emiliano Martinez, it's actually, there you go. It's actually, this was before the match. So Aston Villa, goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez has been named in Argentina's starting 11 for their World Cup qualifier against Brazil tonight. Good luck, Emi. So
Yeah.
there was, it was known that he was going to start. It was known he was in the country. This is not a surprise by any means.
Hmm.
The leagues know it, and Aston Villa themselves know it. And regarding what could potentially happen, the AFA president, Chiki, actually just tweeted something out. Here we go. I'll share this.
Hmm.
Here we go. So it's specifically, I mean, it's all of it, but specifically that last sentence where he says, we're just going to wait for FIFA's, I guess, disciplinary committee. Is that the right word,
Yeah,
Teva?
yeah. The
Yeah.
second paragraph, I think it's the important one here. It says we have always been following the guidelines of the sanitary law, which is in place with CONMEBOL in the CONMEBOL territory. And then yeah,
Yeah.
it says that they wait for the resolution from the disciplinary court
Committee.
from
Court.
FIFA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's him also saying, well, look, we followed everyone's guidelines. We did what we had to do, and we don't decide anything anymore. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is
it's
not the type of video that we wanted
no.
to be doing. I know there's a lot of angry comments. There's a lot of
It's
angry
not our
people.
fault. We
Yeah,
promise. It's
of
not our
course.
fault.
No, I don't think they're angry with us, but in general, yeah, they're obviously frustrated because we wanted to see 90 minutes of
Of
two of the
course.
best teams in the world, and this rivalry which we love. Um, it was an opportunity for a couple of milestones as well because Brazil never lost a World Cup qualifier on home
Uh-huh.
soil. Messi with a goal would have
Would have
equal
tied.
Pele or
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. He
equal
would have. He
Pele.
would have equaled Pele's record of goals for most goals for a South American country.
Yeah.
There was a lot. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but this would have, if Argentina would have won, this would have been the first time Argentina defeats Brazil in 3 consecutive matches
I don't think ever, but I think the first time in a long time.
in a
I
long
think
time,
it
at least,
happened.
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it happened.
yeah.
Yeah. Where is my
So
drink? I'm getting I'm getting asked about my dream. Well, I have two
as
options. Let me show you the options. I have this little glass of water, natural sparkling water, and this sanitizer. I'm thinking of drinking this. This is for the hands, right? But I'm thinking of no, 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 don't do it. Some people do this in television
no,
or
no,
anything,
no,
but
please
no, don't
don't.
do it, don't do it.
No,
Just joking, but I don't have anything else to drink at the moment, so
yeah.
ah,
It's
it's bad. It's
see,
bad.
there you go. That's
No vino tinto tonight. No, it's early. It's early. It's still early.
still
Um,
6 p.m. for you.
yeah,
Yeah, and there's still a racing game to be played.
yeah. I have to watch some of the local league take place
Yeah,
in a while. Couple of
yeah,
games coming up.
yeah.
But yeah, this is frustrating. We wanted to do this video anyway because we thought there was a lot of elements to discuss. We imagined that there were gonna be a lot of questions being asked. Of course, we don't have a lot of answers to give at the moment because nobody has. We are as surprised and shocked and disgusted as you are. But we try to, with all the information that we had, try to share it with you. And man of the match, they're asking for man of the match. Well, I will give it to Cuti Romero because he wasn't supposed to be playing,
He
but
got the tackle,
he kicked the
but
hell out of Eder Militao.
but
It was good.
you but see that part right there could have actually led to an Argentina goal because Militao had
Yeah,
already played the pass. Di Maria and Messi were there, and it would have been a
yeah,
3-on-1 pretty much. And when that foul happened, I just screamed like, Romero, like, what are you doing? Why all the
yeah.
way down there? Wait. But see, that would
I
have been
think he
something else.
was
What
a
happens if Argentina would have scored?
yeah, yeah. I can't believe we were gonna analyze 5 minutes of a game, but we can do. There were some bits there, just to lighten the mood a little bit. But I think Cuti was chasing Neymar or staying close to Neymar, and then when he saw the opportunity, he went for it, and he was perhaps a little too eager. But yeah, it would have been. There were Messi and Di Maria going 2-on-1.
With Lautaro on the
Probably
other
facing
side.
the keeper. Yeah, Lautaro on the other side. But also another of the highlights I would say is Otamendi and Acuna fighting this intruder.
Yeah.
This intruder. This guy, he went to face probably two of our
The two.
toughest. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say the two. No, maybe Dibu
Well,
Martinez.
Dibu's a big
Yeah,
guy.
but yeah,
It's that was we had more action off the pitch with everything going on
yeah,
than we have in the past week. It's
yeah.
crazy to think. But
Um, did you see Messi wearing the
the
photographers?
photo, yeah, he had that. He needed another job. Obviously, maybe
Yeah,
PSG is not paying him as well as we thought.
he's already the
Maybe,
best photographer in the world. I'm sure.
yeah. So apparently, Siad writes that apparently that person was armed.
Who? Otamendi?
No, Acuna.
Acuna. Damn,
Acuna.
he was
You
armed.
know what? Apparently.
Oh,
But I will say this. Though. I thought the referee, for the most part, for all of the 5 minutes, I thought he did pretty well. He did pretty well. Neymar had
oh,
that tackle on Paredes as right before everything was called off. So it was fun.
yeah. No, not the
It
moment.
was fun.
Not the moment that not what we wanted. But can I send you a little link here, and you can
Of
show
course.
all our viewers? Because
Yes.
somebody's saying this is the exact moment when Brazil decided to do this trick, and I just sent it to you
Let's see.
on Twitter
Was
as
it
a direct
message on
message.
Twitter? Okay.
Yeah, direct message on. Yeah, I think I sent it right.
To Yeah, you sent it right. Let's see this.
Okay, let's play that video. Yeah, that,
Okay.
that's the exact moment when Brazil decided to do this little stunt and stop the game from being played because they saw
Here we
this
go.
guy was on fire. Look at him.
And that was on Muso, wasn't it?
Look, look, look,
On
look.
Muso. Oh,
It's all right. Right. So they saw this and said, "Okay, what can we do to stop this guy from playing? Play it again, please. I want to see it
you know
again."
what? Okay,
I'm
let's
sure
go back.
everybody
Let's
would
go back.
agree. Yeah, I'm sure everybody would
Let's
agree. Look at that. Look at that.
let's
They
do
said,
this.
"Okay, okay, no, this guy is in a zone tonight. Look."
Wow.
Oh, oh my God, what a beauty.
Wow. 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 It's
Oh my God. So yeah,
Is it replay? Well, let's watch this once more. Look at this.
the sound, the sound it makes.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Wow.
beautiful. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that of all the versions that I heard, this is a more realistic. I mean, they said, "Okay, look how he's shooting in the practice." Yeah, of course, they didn't want
Leo
Leo
to
to
bring.
break. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Messi out here knocking the spiders out of the top corners just for fun.
Oh my God.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it was. I saw that. I saw that when everything was going on, and I'm like, wow, wow. It was. He's gotten very good at those.
What a night.
Yeah,
This is so bizarre.
yeah.
This is so bizarre. I like Gurab's message. Woke up at 5 a.m. with full hangover. Brazil health authority decided maybe they were looking after you. They said, "Okay, let's send Gurab back to sleep." Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
he need he needs some
But
rest.
yeah. But now the thing, what happens is, I mean, the next match obviously it's Thursday versus Bolivia.
Yeah,
So
let's talk a
Argentina
little bit about it.
technically
Yeah,
get So Argentina technically get a full week's rest. I'll be honest, I probably would have preferred getting this week's rest if it was a more difficult opponent. No disrespect to Bolivia, but I think we'd still have been able to get the win versus Bolivia had they played today. But a full week's rest, what does this
Mhm.
mean? Do we get the changes that we were talking about, Seba? What do you think?
Yeah. This changes the scenario because we were thinking, okay, maybe some of these players are gonna get a yellow for time wasting down the line. Maybe 5 minutes to go, and all of a sudden they realize they may as well get their second yellow out of the way, or how many yellows are needed for the suspension now, maybe two, three, whatever, but get the yellow that I need in order for me to be quiet with my conscience and miss the Bolivia game and go back to Europe to try not to have a tight relationship or a complicated relationship with the clubs. I still think some of these players are gonna go back to
Yeah,
to Europe now. They were uh, probably not going to be part of the Bolivia game, whatever happened today. But we'll see. We'll see what happens because it's important. Yeah, it's important to point that out because it changes the situation. I still think
absolutely.
we're gonna see changes for the next game. Yeah,
Yeah, I definitely think we do. The four players aside, the four Premier League players, I don't know what's going to happen with them, but I think the likes of maybe Lautaro gets a rest, maybe we get Siti Bala. Under
yeah.
different circumstances, I would have said Buendia as well probably gets his debut, but he's one of the
No,
players in
yeah,
England.
he's traveling back. I'm thinking
Yeah,
he's traveling back.
yeah.
But yeah,
So
uh,
maybe players Lisandro Martinez, Tagliafico, maybe Nicolas Dominguez, Julian Alvarez, right? He's going to be playing at home at the
yeah,
Monumental, River Plate. Franco Armani, depending on how well he recovers, either him or maybe Juan Musso. So I'm expecting some changes. I do think Messi starts because it's a home game and there are going to be fans in attendance. So I think Messi does start. Other than that, yeah, I do expect some changes. If Scaloni doesn't, if Scaloni fields a strong 11, then I think we get a lot of changes at halftime. I
yeah,
don't think everyone's going to play the full 90
yeah.
minutes.
No, no,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah. And
Yeah,
there was a question. What was it? Someone asked, "What's Roy? Who's that jersey above Messi? If it's this one, then it's a Mascherano one. That one's a Mascherano. If that's the
number
one you're
14.
wondering." Yeah, number 14, West Mills. There you go. So hopefully a 30% full Monumental will energize the national team to a 5-0 win. I mean, look, if they were able to get 3-1 away versus Venezuela, why not? Why not a 5-0 versus Bolivia to get
Yeah, one
everybody
thing
in
for sure,
attendance?
the players will be eager to play. I mean, they will
Of
be
course.
after this fiasco, they will be eager to play, of course.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see s- pretty much what we saw in Venezuela. The team play more relaxed. Today was going to be different. I didn't expect the team to play relaxed today.
No,
It was more fierce, and we saw from the early Kuti tackle. Um,
he set the
but
tone.
he set the tone. Yeah, we were going for it. Um, I guess you can see how frustrated I am. I expected something very, very different. I was anticipating this game. I really wanted
I
it to
know.
happen. Uh,
I
I'm a
really
bit
thought they could win this.
disappointed. Yeah, me too. Me
I
too.
know you did too. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's we spoke a couple of videos back. You said Argentina gets 9 points out of nine. I said maybe 7 out of 9. I was a couple of days ago I thought maybe this one ends in a draw, maybe a 1-1 draw or something. But
yeah,
I don't know, the way they played against Venezuela and the way the players really seem to be up for it and full of confidence. Prior to kickoff, I thought no, we'll get the 9 points, and it's a big game, and it's not because Brazil were missing a lot of their players, not really because of that, because we were still able to.
no, and it was a strong team
It
as
was a
well.
strong Brazil team. It was really a strong Brazil team, and look, who knows? Argentina could have lost, could have drawn, whatever it was. But like you, I was very much looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Very excited. Uh, but now we'll see. Does this match even end up happening? Does it happen in a year from now? Does it happen in a month from now? Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Jaco Taco in the comments is asking about whether we saw what Flavio Bolsonaro said. Yeah, we did, and we mentioned
Yeah,
just a
Seba
little while
mentioned it.
ago.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I read on Twitter that Seba predicted this. I forgot to tell you this. Yeah,
Ah,
if you look at comment 3, 4 comments before that,
yeah.
I no, this is funny because it's not like I really predicted it, but and we were talking about this fiasco because they were mentioning since yesterday that there were rumors that these players were not going to be allowed to play. Then the treatment I saw on TV was bordering on the, you know, sarcastic at times, and even, you know, too um, controversial, farcical. But then I said to one of my sons, I said, "Hey, you know what they will do now? They will wait until the game starts, and then they will go
They'll
into the
suspend it.
pitch and remove the players." And it was a joke. Obviously, I said it as a joke. It ended up happening, and my son said, "Hey, this is what you said. This is what you." I said, "No, it was a stupid joke, but sometimes reality surpasses uh,
Yeah.
stupid jokes."
It's I had missed that one actually. I didn't see.
Yeah.
Uh, it's Bolivia must be dreading facing Argentina, facing an angry and rested Argentina now. 4-0 loading, possibly.
Mm.
Yes. Any interest? Yeah, I'll probably end up watching it. I hope Canada wins for obvious reasons. I know someone. I can't remember who. Someone is out for the United States. I believe it was their goalkeeper, backup goalkeeper for Manchester City. So, anyways, I'll probably end up watching it, but it won't be the
Yeah,
same. You know, getting hyped up
we
for this match,
have
Argentina Brazil, and then not
yeah,
happening.
we have the rest of the World Cup qualifiers from South America happening now. I think
Yeah, Ecuador,
um,
Chile. I have right
Ecuador,
there.
yeah, Ecuador,
I'm
Chile, nine
watching.
minutes. Yeah, 9 minutes. They're nil at the moment. Then Uruguay,
Yeah.
Bolivia later, Paraguay, Colombia, and Peru, Venezuela
Yeah.
later on.
Raf asks, or mentions maybe rather, the games versus Bolivia, a chance for Dybala and Messi to play 90 minutes together. You know, this could be something. It could be an opportunity. Obviously, we saw them against Chile. We saw them a little bit versus Venezuela when Dybala was brought on. This could be a big boost for Dybala. This could be something that he needs. This match, uh, I'm not saying this is a good thing that it happened tonight. Obviously not. But if what happened tonight ends up giving Dybala 90 minutes versus Bolivia, you know this could
Hmm.
be beneficial for him. Who knows? Who knows if we end up getting them both for 90 minutes? Maybe for a little bit. I don't believe Messi will play the 90 minutes versus Bolivia though.
Also, you have the Correas, you have
Yeah,
Papu, you have a lot of
Rafa
options and
Gomez.
players, you know, deserving of a
Of
good run
course.
in the team. So, yeah,
Yeah.
options. Yeah, we have a lot. We have a lot of options.
Oof. A ton of options. A ton of options. I don't think this should be a question, to be honest. I know it is, but it probably shouldn't be. Um, what do you think? What do you think? Um, yeah, it's it's like you said, like you mentioned a couple of minutes ago, but we wanted to do this under different circumstances.
Yeah.
Um, there were different reports about how the Brazilian health agency would have allowed this match to play if the four Argentine players agreed to, not start the match and this and that. But
Yeah.
we'll see what ends
It
up
is
happening.
unfortunate. I think it all resumes. You can recap everything by saying everything that's taking place in the government aspects in Brazil
Yeah,
is a farce right now. It's really bad. This is not as not even close to the most serious things they have done. It's bad, but I'm telling you, most of the things they do are far worse. So I'm not surprised. And the only explanation you can give to this is that, yeah, it was them getting involved in this.
yeah.
That's the
The,
only.
very good question from MN. I can't remember. Seba, do you? Has something like this ever happened?
No, something
Like where
that.
where external, you know,
No, but I mean, it could be that games being suspended, obviously,
of
for
course.
threats, for whatever, for security reasons, but for somebody jumping onto the pitch because a couple of players were not supposedly allowed to play the game. No, first time.
I can't remember. Seba, this is for you. Have you been able to get
No, no,
tickets?
no news. I still have no news. I don't know
No news.
when they go on sale, how much are they gonna cost. We don't we don't know anything about it. I'll be waiting. If you heard, let me know. If you
Yeah.
yeah,
This was different.
but that was different. The game was
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not
I
like
don't
they
know.
dragged Maradona half like five
No,
minutes into the match and said, "Okay." you're out.
No. Hmm.
Um, I can't. I've seen some weird stuff in sports. Like I'll use. I know this is kind of off topic, but hockey, for example. I believe it was the Carolina Hurricanes in the NHL National Hockey League, where they had to use their Zamboni driver to be the goalkeeper, the
Yeah, I
goaltender.
heard that. Yeah, I heard
This
that.
was about maybe 3 4 years ago,
Yeah.
and
He had a good
everyone was
game.
injured. And he won.
Yeah, he had a good game.
They
Yeah.
won. So you get these weird sports moments sometimes in obviously different sports, but something like this where a health agency comes in and says no, this is stopping. I've never seen this, and this is another one as well. I mean, will clubs decide not to send players? This is essentially where it becomes very difficult moving forward.
Yeah, and this is us walking, all of us walking into the unknown, because this wasn't an
Yeah.
issue even 3 days before this round of qualifiers. This was
No,
They were preventing the players from going after the national teams released um, their
there's squad list.
the squads. So they tried last minute to stop them from going, and they were not, as apparently it is the case, or evidently is the case. They were not very well organized in terms of, they haven't been able to stop all of the players from going to their own countries. And what happened next? Yeah, who knows? Because FIFA obviously are against that. FIFA are gonna be
Of course,
taking sides with the national teams, because they need to preserve the nature of international football as better as they can. And obviously, on the other hand, you have all these clubs with their own interests
agenda,
and money and
interesting.
agenda, and they try to undermine national team football. So we don't know if they're gonna go again, or if this time they're gonna say, okay, let's not prevent anybody from going. It will be interesting to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, especially because qualifiers are next month. I mean, the lists
Yeah,
are going to be released in about 2 weeks.
yeah.
So that's going to be another one. And then obviously there's
So we
more
have
matches in
Paraguay.
November.
We have Paraguay early
Um,
October, then Uruguay, and then was it
I
Colombia?
can't remember who the third team is. I know in November it's Uruguay, Brazil. Only 2 matches, but it's Uruguay, Brazil in November. October is Uruguay. Then I think, is it Paraguay, like you said?
I think it's Paraguay first. Let me check. I have
I
it
can't.
here.
Let's
Let me
we'll
check. Let
we'll
me check.
check it out.
I have it here.
Um,
So after Bolivia, it's away at Paraguay on the Thursday, October the 7th. Then
okay.
on two. Wait. They don't have it listed here.
Oof, Claudio Bravo with a big save for Chile
Oh,
a couple of moments ago.
I think they didn't change it here. Look, sorry. I
Let's
don't
wait.
wanna. I don't wanna give
I could
you
get this here.
information that is not confirmed.
I could
But
get this.
Argentina,
I have it here.
Peru, October.
Here we go. I have it
Yeah,
here. It's just
yeah.
loading
Uruguay
the.
at
Okay.
home, and then Peru at home.
So in October, it's Paraguay, Uruguay, Peru. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Paraguay away, Uruguay at home, and Peru at home.
So
Yes.
we probably have the same situation in 1 month's time. Teams preventing players from going, or trying to prevent players from
Yeah.
coming to South America, and a triple round of fixtures. So we'll see.
Yeah. So
We'll
that's
see.
another one. That's another one. Hopefully everything gets resolved by November because November those are the big 2 games. I mean, on paper for Argentina, it's Uruguay and Brazil. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Um, to Wes Mill's point, let's see the comment.
yeah,
If Infantino threatened England World Cup qualification, they will release the players right away. To that point, I think that's a double-edged sword, because to those who make the decisions in the Premier League, the national team of England has no room in their hearts. They don't care about it,
yeah,
because
yeah,
they're different people. It's the Premier League. They just look at the clubs and their interests, and they don't care about the FA and the national team of England. It's the same
It's
for La Liga in Spain. It's the same for Serie A.
it's
These
different
are
entities.
not different entities, and in fact, they don't like each other very much. And there's a
Mm,
constant struggle for power within those countries, within their games. So, for example, when the Premier League ran away and broke away from the FA,
yeah,
it was a big problem, and there was a big issue. So the FA now only has power over the national teams, certain cup competitions, and
and the
that's
FA
it.
Cup.
The FA Cup, and that's it. So I don't think Infantino has that card to be played. He can play that card if he says, "Hey,
No.
if you don't release players from the Premier League to the international football, I'm gonna ban you from the next Euro or the World Cup or whatever." They will go ahead anyway, and they're not associated to FIFA. The FA is, and
Hmm.
they have no power whatsoever in this one.
No, and it's different. And there was a comment. I'm just gonna bring it up, and unfortunately, it is. Here we go. This will be a big disadvantage to South American teams because it's not the same thing.
No,
The teams, the clubs in South America are not as financially set or wealthy. They don't have that power that maybe the Premier League does. You'll never see a team or a league maybe in South America come out and say we're not going to release our players and have it have the same effect as the Premier League or La Liga even. Premier League's the biggest league in the world, and for a reason.
yeah,
And they. I won't say sometimes they get away with things, but sometimes a lot of the time things go their way and money talks. There's a reason
yeah,
for that.
yeah.
There's a reason for that. It's
Right.
what are you gonna do?
Probably maybe final thoughts. We reached the hour. We don't
Yeah.
want to bore you to death either.
Final thoughts. Brazil were too scared to play us. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Uh, you know what? Actually, here I'll before we get to final thoughts, just a little thing. So I meant say about your thoughts on people wanting to play the World Cup every 2 years.
No,
No.
even if that would
Okay.
mean that I will see more World Cups before I before I go.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, 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 no. I don't agree because the 5 year window, the 4 year window, it's what you know gives you more anticipation, gives you more
Yeah.
the I have to do it now because then in 4 years time, who knows what happens, and it's not the same. It will lose. You will lose a bit of
It'll lose
interest.
value
Yes, it happened with the Copa America. They started playing it every year, and
every 2 years. Yeah.
it's not the same. I can tell you that. I'm against that.
Yeah. No, same, and especially now. I mean, when qualifiers, using today as an example, when they can't even get to play a World Cup qualifier, how do you think they're going to plan a World Cup every 2 years when you have
Yeah,
something like this happening?
that too.
You can't.
In places like Africa, Asia, these World Cup qualifiers campaign, they take a long time. I mean,
Yeah,
they're qualifying in Africa. They're qualifying for the Africa Cup of Nations every now and then, which is sacred and it's a fantastic
of
competition.
course.
And you will kill those continental competitions if you do a World Cup every 2 years, and it's not
Yeah,
good. They should be more creative and try if they want to mix things up. They should try at least not to kill other competitions and not to do something worse than it already is.
yeah. It gets to the point where there's too many competitions. I like the idea of the Confederations Cup.
Yeah,
In theory, for example, I thought it was good. It was cool, but to have a World Cup, for example, every 2 years, or even the Copa America every year, every 2 years, or it loses its value. It it loses something, the mystique, the something. So
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
not a big fan of it. I will say this, George. Thank you guys for joining in, for listening. As we mentioned, obviously today is not the video we wanted to do,
Hmm. Hmm.
but no choice. And Seba, you had asked me final
Hey,
thoughts.
we still
Yes,
undefeated. We still undefeated.
there you
I have
go.
to say, yeah,
22
we
games now. Does this count? We were 21 before the match against Brazil. Uh, maybe I'll claim it as 22.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
We'll obviously Mundo will be your place for the latest info. As
yes,
soon as we hear, especially Roy, who keeps track on every single Argentine player and every little bit of news to bring it to you. You will be the first to learn about what is going on and what will happen with this game. And we'll meet again just ahead of the Bolivia game, or for sure right after. So yeah, we will
yeah,
be here hopefully to talk a little bit about football in this case, and not
hopefully.
this type of fiasco situations and
Uh,
farces.
yeah. Seba has a game to catch in a couple of moments, I believe,
I
or
have to,
it's
yeah, I have to watch Racing. It doesn't give me a
there
lot
you
of
go.
pleasure these days, but I have to. I have nothing
It's
else to
okay.
do.
There you go. There you go. Thank you guys. Wes, thank you, buddy. Thank you for joining.
Hope you guys
Um,
get some rest. Yeah.
yes,
Hope you
wherever
guys.
you are in the world, get some sleep, get some rest. If it's still early for me, it's about 5:30 where I am. I don't know, have a drink, eat. There's some more football going on. There's some more World Cup qualifiers going on.
Yeah.
And like Seba said, Mundo Albiceleste. Follow me on Twitter. Follow Seba on Twitter for all the latest. We try and be funny sometimes. Sometimes in our
Yeah.
tweets doesn't always work, but yes. Anyways, guys, Seba, anything else you want to add?
No, no. That as always, thank you for everybody for joining, for always supporting us, and you guys make it possible, because otherwise we'll be just talking to each other,
Yeah.
and it will be no fun. It's only because of you and for you, and hopefully we brought some clarity on this very dark day in football. Um, and yeah, let's hope for the next video to be a little better.
Yes, and hopefully we'll have some information by then as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Anyways, all right, everybody, have a good night or good day, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world. And next up for Argentina is versus Bolivia on Thursday or maybe Friday in some parts of the world. And we'll either do a review for that if we don't, we'll either do a preview for that. If we don't end up doing a preview, we'll definitely be doing a review for it. So stay tuned for that one. Take care, everybody.